Gabriela Coletta Zapata, District 1 City Councilor, and I'm the chair of the Boston City Council Committee on Government Operations. Today is November 1st, 2024. This hearing is being recorded. It is also being live streamed at boston.gov/city-council-TV and broadcast on Xfinity Channel 8, RCN Channel 82, and FiOS Channel 964. Attendance in accordance with Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, modifying certain requirements of the open meeting law and relieving public bodies of certain requirements, including the requirement that public bodies conduct its meeting in a public place that is open and physically accessible to the public. The City Council will be conducting this hearing remotely. This enables the City Council to carry out its responsibilities while ensuring public access to its deliberations through adequate alternative means. Written comments may be sent to the committee email at ccc.go@boston.gov and will be made a part of the record and available to all councilors. Public testimony will be taken at the end of the hearing. If you're interested in testifying, please email our central staff liaison for the link and your name will be added. Today's hearing is on Docket 1202, Petition for a Special Law regarding an act providing certain death benefits for Rachel Marie Troy, the widow of a former firefighter in the city of Boston. This matter was sponsored by Councilors Ed Flynn and Aaron Murphy and referred to the committee on August 7th, 2024. I'm joined by my colleagues in order of arrival. We have Councilor Murphy who joined us, and I believe we'll jump back on, Councilor Fitzgerald, and then Councilor Flynn. I will pass it to the lead sponsor for any opening remarks that he'd like to provide and go around in that order. Councilor Flynn, you have the floor.
Thank you, Councilor Coletta. Thank you for chairing this hearing. And I want to thank you to Mrs. Troy and the president of Local 718 Firefighters, Sam Dillon, for being here as well. The important leadership you are providing, Sam. This is a home rule petition for Rachel Marie Troy, the surviving spouse of Matthew Troy, a United States Marine, Boston firefighter, who tragically passed away after a courageous several-year battle with occupational cancer. Matthew served 6 years in the United States Marine before becoming a Boston firefighter at Purchase Street Firehouse in downtown the Wharf District in 2018. In 2020, Matthew was diagnosed with stage 4 bile duct and liver cancer after a fire wellness screening. He immediately received treatment, including chemotherapy, radiology. Those who served with Matthew in the fire department remember him as an exceptional man and firefighter, and note his determination and grace during incredibly difficult battle with cancer. This home rule petition seeks to secure the equal pension benefit that Matthew's wife, Rachel, would have automatically received had he been diagnosed only several months later. He was diagnosed just prior to the 5-year vesting period of the occupational cancer presumptive. Additionally, this act will secure the equal health insurance opportunities she would have been entitled to had Matthew not passed away and retired from service as a Boston firefighter. I hope we can secure these benefits that Matthew earned, that his family earned, to support Rachel. I understand the city needs to do its due diligence on any death benefit filed. I look forward to hearing from Rachel and from my colleagues, in hearing from Rachel, as I mentioned, but I also want to highlight the incredible service and sacrifice of Matthew as a United States Marine, as a United States veteran, supporting other veterans as well, but also his heroic service on the Boston firefighter. Even after leaving the United States Marines, he wanted to continue serving his city and serving his country. And that's exactly what he did in a heroic way. I'm honored to be here and to support this benefit change that hopefully his wife will receive. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councilor Flynn. Councilor Fitzgerald?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Very rarely does anything come across this body that should not be questioned, looked at, no matter what it is. But I think in this instance, there's absolutely no doubt about what should be done. And I'd like to thank Rachel as we continue to mourn along with her for her loss. And thank you for being here. Thank you for the Troy family's dedication to this country and to this city and protecting all of us. Thank you to Sam for being here representing firefighters as well. And I look forward to getting the hearing on so that we can go through with this exception. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councilor Fitzgerald. I'm not seeing Councilor Murphy on, but I do just want to quickly say that it's been incredible to learn about Matthew's service to this country and this city. And this is very much a process of bureaucracy. And we do have to do our due diligence, but really grateful for your time, Rachel, and being here. And for the record, I just want to reference the extensive amount of information that has been sent either through medical or personal records that were submitted to the committee that is available for any of my colleagues to review in the folder that was provided by our central staff liaison, Megan Kavanaugh. So just a quick summary, we are here to review the special petition that would provide an accidental death benefit from the Boston Retirement Board to Ms. Rachel Troy for the surviving spouse of Matthew, who was a former firefighter in the city of Boston, who died as a result of a condition of impairment of health, suffering while performing the essential duties of a firefighter. And so these benefits are dictated by Mass General Law, Section 9, Chapter 32, and she shall receive a lump sum payment from the Boston Retirement Board equal to the total accumulated retirement deductions paid by Mr. Troy into the annuity savings fund. This benefit allowance shall consist of a yearly amount equal to 72% of the annual rate of compensation of the date of injury, or equal to 72% of the average annual rate of compensation for the yearly rate he last received regular compensation preceding the date of his passing, whichever is greater. Okay, I will now pass it over to either Sam or Rachel. It is your preference on whoever wants to go first. Thank you.
Rachel, do you want me to go first?
I'm happy to go. I'll get it over with. I'm not looking forward to this, so.
Rachel, you got this.
And also bear with me, brevity is not my best when it comes to talking about Matt, so I'll try and talk fast. I'm working on trying to keep things briefer when it comes to him. But good morning, everyone. I first off want to thank you for the opportunity to share my story and for considering this special act. For those of you that I'm meeting for the first time today, my name is Rachel Lucier Troy. My husband, Matthew Troy, was a Boston firefighter who tragically lost his life to occupational cancer. I'd like to share with you all a bit about our story. I was fortunate to have Matt in my life for 12 years. Our relationship began when I was 18 and he was 19. At the time, I was in college and Matt was in the Marines. He was an incredible person. He had a huge heart. He was hysterically funny. He was easygoing. He could make a friend just about anywhere he went. Matt was many things, but something that stood out to me in the early days was his remarkable work ethic and unwavering drive. Once Matt had committed to something or set a goal, he never, ever gave up on that. I remember him telling me that he was in the Marines to serve and honor his country, but it was also part of his every holiday saying to me, Rachel, we don't have children yet. I have to let the guys with kids spend the day with their families. And then one day when we have children, they'll return the favor. Sadly, Matt never got the chance to see that favor returned. We achieved our dream home of buying a 2-family in Boston. We both had careers we loved, and we added our golden retriever, Ralphie, into our mix. As we were feeling settled into our careers and home, we were ready for marriage. Unfortunately, it was during this time we discovered Matt's health issues. While shopping for engagement rings, we also were in between medical appointments, trying to get to the bottom of Matt's abnormal lab counts. My experience in healthcare allowed me to act as his advocate as he and I navigated our complex medical system. In the mix of speaking with specialists, countless labs, scans, and researching, we also got engaged. Unfortunately, that excitement was short-lived when Matt was diagnosed with stage 4 cholangiocarcinoma, a cancer of the bile ducts in the liver. I'll never forget our first meeting with his oncologist at Mass General. I was so frightened and scared of what was to come, but Matt, being Matt, exemplified true bravery and was filled with hope and optimism. We spent hours in the first appointment trying to make sense of everything. Matt didn't have much to say. This was not a world he was used to being in, and the medical jargon was overwhelming to him. One of the first and only questions Matt asked was, "I can still work, right?" After discussing his job as a firefighter, the oncologist informed him it would be unsafe to continue working during treatment. That's when his tears started to fall. In an instant, the career he had worked so hard for was being taken away, and he was devastated. The next day, Matt had to inform his boss and team that he needed to take a leave of absence. We all hoped it would be temporary, but helping him to prepare for that difficult conversation was heartbreaking. And watching him leave for what turned out to be his last shift at the firehouse was truly gut-wrenching. Within a week of being diagnosed, he had a port placed and was scheduled to begin chemo. There wasn't a lot of time to react. We were just doing our best to keep up with everything that was being thrown at us. The 5-year survival rate of stage 4 cholangiocarcinoma is just 2%, meaning 2 out of 100 people make it to 5 years. While this statistic would discourage most, Matt remained hopeful, always smiling and keeping a positive attitude. He began a chemotherapy regimen every other week, adding immunotherapy in during the last week of each month. This lasted for 8 months. Our treatment schedule was set for Monday morning starting at 7 a.m. at Mass General. There, they would draw labs, after which would meet with his oncology team for lab reviews, clearance for chemotherapy, and then would head to Yawkey 9, the infusion floor, where Matt would sit for over 8 hours receiving chemotherapy through his port. Matt kept everyone laughing to help keep the time pass. He quickly became the nurse's favorite patient because he never complained, was always kind, and I think all the firefighters that visit, the young nurses, really enjoyed that too. As his caregiver, it was my job during those days to not only provide mental support to Matt, but also asking his doctors questions, taking notes, scheduling follow-up meetings, advocating for his need, and medication management. I did all of this while working a full-time job in health tech sales. We would leave these sessions both feeling absolutely exhausted, but also appreciative we had each other. After 8 months of treatment, a scan in May 2023 showed little to no evidence of disease, bringing us hope. His oncologist suggested radiation to target any remaining cells. Matt had a 2-week break from chemo before starting 30 consecutive days of radiation to his liver. As he began to feel stronger, he took himself to his daily appointments, with me joining him on Thursdays to meet with his oncology team. Sadly, this plan only lasted for about 10 days because Matt became extremely sick from radiation, struggling to even hold his head up. This was one of the first times I had to take Matt to the emergency room. As an oncology patient, any fever over 100 degrees is extremely dangerous due to a weakened immune system. Matt became severely immunocompromised, leading to multiple infections and nearly a dozen inpatient stays within 4 months. He had stents surgically placed in his liver to open narrowing bile ducts. Unlike cardiovascular stents, these stents need to be replaced regularly because the liver is filled with bacteria. Matt underwent these procedures monthly. He also had to restart chemo. He tried 2nd, 3rd, 4th line of defense chemo treatments, none being successful. His quality of life declined significantly as these more aggressive treatments were harsher than the first round and required him to be connected to pumps at home for 48 hours. Each time we went for lab results, it was disheartening to hear that his tumor markers were rising. Matt became too unhealthy for clinical trials, and it was then when we were told he had 2 to 3 months to live and should transition to hospice care. Unfortunately, his actual time left turned out to be only 2 to 3 weeks. I've spared you the gory details of living and caring for a patient who suffers suffering from liver cancer, but the past 2 years have been grueling and traumatizing. I was also Matt's advocate, fiercely researching and advocating for the best treatments for him. Balancing a full-time job while managing his care was extremely stressful. His occupational cancer also robbed me of my own career aspirations as I had to put my work on hold to care for Matt. It was devastating to watch my once young, healthy, strong husband deteriorate to just 110 pounds. Seeing his brain function decline due to liver toxicity in his final days is an experience I wouldn't wish on anyone. And watching him die in front of my own eyes was absolutely horrific. While Matt is finally at peace after his health struggles, I am now facing a life without him and without his financial support. The loss of income adds an immense layer of difficulty to my grief. Not only am I mourning my husband, but I'm also confronted with the reality of managing expenses on my own. The financial burden's overwhelming, making an already challenging time more difficult to navigate. The day Matt passed away, his paycheck stopped. Secondary loss is a harsh reality of losing a spouse. Meanwhile, the world keeps moving forward, but my bills haven't stopped, and this financial pressure has only intensified my grief. I could only take a month off of work as bills began piling up just weeks after Matt's death. If you've experienced significant loss, you understand how challenging it is to navigate daily life while grieving. Returning to work so soon after Matt's passing has been incredibly difficult, but I had no choice. Matt and I, mostly Matt, were dealt with an unlucky hand with his cancer diagnosis, but not receiving the standard pension because his diagnosis came just 5 months too early feels especially unjust. This benefit would alleviate much of the financial stress I wake up with each morning and finally allow me to take a breath after the traumatic years I've endured. When I reflect on the sacrifices Matt made while working towards becoming a Boston firefighter, each shift he took not knowing what challenges lay ahead and the workplace exposures that led to his cancer diagnosis, receiving the standard surviving spouse benefits seems entirely reasonable given what Matt had given up to help protect the city of Boston. I thank you all again for your time and consideration this morning.
Thank you so much, Rachel. And again, I just want to relay my deepest condolences and sympathies, and just sorry for you and your family's loss. I know it was not easy to be here, but again, I am grateful. I do just want to say that we did have a little bit of a technical issue, and so the live stream that folks are listening in did go out for a minute, but my understanding is that it's back up now in the event that folks are watching and having issues. Sam, I'll pass it over to you for any testimony you want to provide.
Good morning. Thank you. I just want to begin, Rachel, as always, beyond and just impressed with your strength, your poise. We're supposed to be the tough ones with the firefighters, but you continue to be our rock to our family. So thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Chair Coletta, members of the Boston City Council. I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to address you and your colleagues on behalf of my brother firefighter, Matthew Troy, his wife, Rachel, the Troy family, and Boston Firefighters Local 718, of which I am proud to serve as president. As Councilor Flynn mentioned, Matthew, prior to serving this city, served this country as United States Marine. And I respect this council and this committee doing their due diligence, as is incumbent on representatives of government and the democratic process. And I do just want to highlight, it's impressed upon me that this is the very democratic process and system of government that Matthew risked his life to serve and defend as a United States Marine. Before this committee lies a petition for a special law regarding an act providing accidental death benefits for the surviving spouse of a former firefighter of the city of Boston. That firefighter, the late Matthew Troy, joined the Boston Fire Department on February 2nd, 2018. Upon successful completion and graduation from the training academy, he was assigned to Engine Company 10, servicing the downtown Boston area, as well as serving as an integral component of our department's Special Operations and Technical Rescue Command. Firefighter Troy immediately distinguished himself as a capable and dedicated firefighter and true public servant to the citizens of the city of Boston. His work ethic was admired and respected by both his peers and superiors, and he quickly established himself as a credit to his fire company, our department, and our great city. On September 13th, 2022, not long after his 30th birthday, Matthew Troy was diagnosed with occupational cancer relative to his service as a Boston firefighter. Matt embraced his battle against cancer with the same inspirational determination with which he approached being a firefighter. Despite undergoing grueling treatment and chemotherapy, he never lost the spirit that endeared him to his family, his friends, and his fellow firefighters. Matt would go out of his way to reach out and offer support to other firefighters and even complete strangers confronting their own cancer treatments and battles. On June 12, 2024, at only 32 years of age, firefighter Matthew Troy succumbed to occupational cancer. The loss of firefighter Troy continues to weigh heavily on his brothers and sisters of Boston Firefighters Local 718, and that emotion and that loss is only eclipsed by that suffered and sustained by his friends and beloved family. It is my honor to appear before this committee today and respectfully request this honorable body to advance and vote in the affirmative the home rule petition before you. This petition seeks the benefits that would have been afforded to Rachel Troy, Matt's surviving spouse, had he received his diagnosis of cancer just 5 months later than he did. This petition does not seek to modify any established city ordinance or state law governing survivor benefits in any fundamental or precedential manner, and we merely seek the same benefits, no less and no more, afforded to other surviving spouses and dependents who have suffered the same immeasurable loss caused by occupational cancer that continues to exact its ugly and devastating toll on Boston firefighters and our families. I thank you for your time and attention to this matter, the opportunity to appear today, and I afford myself to the committee for any further question or comment.
Thank you so much, President Dillon, and I appreciate your partnership in helping to conduct a productive hearing. I just want to say that Councillor Murphy has an individual who is on the Zoom, although she cannot join us. It is my understanding that they are listening in and sending thoughts and prayers to you, Rachel, and your family. Really quick before I pass it over to Councillor Flynn and Councillor Fitzgerald. So I have no objection, just want to say, to this home rule petition or special law. I think the reason or what would be useful for the record is to describe the exemption being sought after as it relates to the timing. If you can talk about the 5 months, Sam, and just any of the technical details of it before it goes to the Boston Retirement Board. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As we've discussed with you and your colleagues, there exists a state law in the Commonwealth, the Firefighter Cancer Presumptive, which basically, to sum up, is that any firefighter who is diagnosed or passes away of occupational cancer, which this is, beyond that 5-year mark, it is presumed to have been incurred in the performance of their prescribed duties as a firefighter, and as such, they are entitled to the disability benefits. And in this tragic case, should they pass away due to that occupational cancer, their family, their dependents become eligible for those benefits. As you have in the documentation that we've provided and via testimony, firefighter Troy was diagnosed just 5 months before that 5-year qualifying line. There is no question in our mind or any reasonable interpretation of this. The known toxic environments that firefighters operate in, the known carcinogens and cancer-causing agents in our protective personal equipment, and the toxins and carcinogens in the particles of combustion that we experience at fires directly caused Matt and his family to have to go through this. To sum it up, we're talking about 5 months here. And Matthew's service to this city, his service as a firefighter, it's worth a hell of a lot more than 5 months. And we're asking for this consideration to be given on this situation.
Thank you for that clarity, President Dillon. I will now pass it over to Councilor Flynn and then Councilor Fitzgerald.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Rachel, thank you for being so strong and for your testimony. And I'm also very sorry for the loss of your husband as well. I had the opportunity to talk to Rachel at length recently and learn a lot about her husband. I don't have any questions. I'm supporting this home rule. I do want to echo or kind of piggyback on what Sam mentioned. Here was a United States Marine who was willing to risk his life for our country. He came back as a Boston firefighter, willing to risk his life for the residents of the city of Boston. He never gave up on our country. He never gave up on the residents of Boston, putting himself in harm's way at times, but protecting the residents of Boston. And I think that's what our firefighters do every day. I think that's what Marines do every day. And that's why I'm supporting this, is because firefighter Troy has been there for the residents of Boston, has been there for our country. And I don't think we're giving Rachel anything. I think these are benefits that firefighter Troy fought his whole life for. And it's about respect. It's about treating Rachel and her family with respect at this time of need. So thank you, Madam Chair, for conducting this meeting.
Thank you, Councilor Flynn. Councilor Fitzgerald.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Rachel, thank you so much for your bravery and strength to tell the story again. And I know it's probably not the first and it won't be the last. And I did get emotional only because it brought up so many memories. I lost my father to cancer, and a lot of the things you described, I saw my mom go through as the spouse, right? About how you still have to work. She was raising 4 kids. She still has to, care for her husband. And so I know it's not easy for you, but you're doing a hell of a job. And I look at my mom and she's happy. I know you will be happy too, and you'll have a long, happy, successful life. But thank you so much for being here. That's all.
Thank you, Councilor Fitzgerald. And I just want to echo that Councilor Flynn's point, where we are not giving Rachel anything. This is something that she deserves, and something that, I wholeheartedly support. I think there are longer conversations about, this process coming through the council and bureaucracy and going straight to the Boston Retirement Board. And I do just, again, appreciate your time, Rachel and Sam, for being here. It is not my intention to hold this up. And so next council meeting, I will recommend passage out of the committee. Again, just want to express gratitude and thanks for you being here to discuss exactly what happened and allow us the opportunity to learn about Matt and his story and be able to provide you with any resemblance of peace. So
thank you very much. I really, really appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. And thank you
so
to
much,
all the
Sam, for being
councilors
here as
today.
well.
Everyone.
With that, this hearing on docket 1202 is now adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.